Hey folks, welcome back to Where's Walter? I'm Walter.
And I'm Rebecca.
And today we're talking about your first cruise. What kind of vacationer are you? So planning your first cruise really starts with what kind of vacationer are you? And for the purposes of this episode, I've broken that down into, are you an active person? Do you like to relax? Is the pool very important to you? And are you a foodie?
And we realize some of you are going to fall into more than one category.
More than one category. Yeah.
Or maybe all of them.
Or maybe all of them. And that's the cool thing. There are so many ships out there today. No matter what kind of person you are, you will find it on pretty much any ship. Well, maybe not the active part. If you go on Holland America, they're not quite so active, except for the dancing. There is dancing on Holland America. So most of you will probably fall into multiple categories. And Rebecca and I, now we've sailed on, now correct me if I'm wrong, we've sailed on Princess, Holland America, Royal Caribbean, Disney, Celebrity. Did I leave one out? Norwegian. So we've sailed on those 6 so far, and we're going to be sailing on Virgin Voyages, and we're going to be sailing on Carnival next year. So we've got some pretty good experience on these various types of ships. So starting off with you active people, like you got to have something to do all the time, or you want to have, I like rock climbing, I want to do zip lining, I want to do all this stuff. If you're an active person, you probably want to start by looking at Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, Disney, believe it or not, and Carnival. Those are the ships that are generally going to have the most activities. You're going to have your rope courses, your zip lines. They're all going to have mini golf. They're going to have water parks. Carnival's about to have a roller coaster at sea. What else do they have, Rebecca? They have all
bumper
kinds
cars.
Bumper cars. Oh yeah, skydiving on some of the Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, the bungee
jump thingies. There's like so much on all these ships.
Laser tag,
surfboarding, all the Royals have surfboarding. So if you're an active kind of person, these are probably the lines that you want to start with. Virgin Voyages is coming out now, and they are really pushing the active fitness thing. They've got outdoor exercise areas and things like that. So they're really pushing that. They're going to be a very active type of cruise. So if you're an active person, those are the cruise lines that you want to start with. But then even within those cruise lines, you need to look at the individual ship because they don't all have everything, especially the smaller and the older ships. You'll see things like Royal Caribbean is saying now amplified. So they're going in and retrofitting their ship, and they're adding the surfing, and they're adding, some bungee things and things like that. So start with Norwegian, Royal, Disney, and Carnival, and possibly Virgin if you want to have a more active cruise, and especially when you're on the ship itself. Now, if you're a person who likes to relax, maybe you want a little bit of a quieter ship, and understand that all of these ships, again, have quiet areas. So even the noisy ones up on the top are going to have quiet areas down below or inside. But if you definitely want the overall vibe to potentially be a little quieter, Princess, Norwegian, believe it or not, Celebrity, Holland America, and Disney, believe it or not. So like Princess, it's generally a very much quieter vibe. At night, they've got some really cool retro things going, and especially when they have the pool party going, it's really awesome at night. But it definitely has a quieter, almost like a classic.
And they don't have all the bells and whistles and extras.
No, they don't. They don't have all your ropes. And in fact, they don't have anything. Some of the ships don't even have mini golf anymore. But some of them did have a golf simulator, which was actually really cool. On Norwegian, when you get away from the upper deck, they're actually the breakaway, the getaway. They have a beautiful boardwalk. A waterfront, they call it, sure. Where you can sit outside all day. We would just sit outside all day. There's some outdoor bars, so we would just sit out, watch the ocean go by. We'd read, we'd play games, and get drinks from the bar. But we were way down on deck 5 or 6, whatever that deck was. Celebrity, definitely a quiet vibe during the day, very quiet vibe during the day. But it's a very nice classic way of cruising. Now Holland's the one that had the good library.
Holland had just beautiful library, which was also attached to their internet center and their coffee bar.
Exactly. So yeah, the coffee, very, very good. In Disney, believe it or not, during the day and in the adult areas, they have all these adult areas where the kids can't go. And it's actually quite pleasant and quiet. The adult pool, for example, on the Disney Fantasy that we went on, had a swim-up bar in there, and the coffee shop was right there next to it. So it was absolutely wonderful. So if you just kind of want to If you're more for relaxing and I don't care about all the activities, then those are some of the ships. Princess, Norwegian, Celebrity, Holland, and Disney could also be for you. And you see how Norwegian and Disney, they fell into both categories. So if you got people that really want to go all out, they can go up to the top of the ship. And if you just want to be quiet, you go down to the lower decks. If a quiet pool is very important to you, like a pool that you can just lounge around, and then when you want to go in and take a dip, you can take a dip without 5,000 people being in the pool. Some of the ships to look at, or some of the cruise lines to look at, would be Princess, Holland America, Celebrity, and some of the Royal Caribbean ships. And by some of the Royal Caribbean, we mean a lot of these lines have indoor solarium pools, absolutely beautiful pools. And on most of these ships, that solarium pool is adults only. So it's very quiet. So there's not like a lot of kids. There's absolutely no activities going on there. So it's not like, hey, it's time for the volleyball, it's time for this, it's time for that. No movies showing. It's very, very quiet in these pools.
Although I do think there's at least one that has a solarium, but does not have a pool in that solarium.
Yes, actually, there were a couple of the newer Royal Caribbean ships. They have a beautiful indoor solarium, and they got big hot tubs in there, but no actual pool. We really love, like Princess has absolutely gorgeous indoor pools. Holland, absolutely beautiful indoor pools. Celebrity just has like this really quiet music piped in, and they've got a little cafe sitting right there as well, so you can grab yourself a little snack, some coffee. And the Royal Caribbeans, the ones that actually have the pool in the solarium, they're absolutely, absolutely stunning. So if a pool is important to you, and a quiet, relaxing pool that doesn't have thousands of people in it and doesn't have games going on all day, Princess, Holland, Celebrity, and some of the royal ships. Now, if you're a foodie, if you really like food, and this speaks to my heart, because I'm an Italian, I got to eat some good food. Some of the ships that we've found, or some of the cruise lines that we've found that are good with food, are Celebrity, Disney, believe it or not, Princess. Those are the three that we've found that have been absolutely consistent with some of the best food. And believe it or not, the absolute best food for us of any cruise that we've taken has been on the Disney Fantasy. Right? Hands down. Wouldn't you agree with that? You are not going to diss me on this.
No, I mean, I think it was definitely up there, but I don't know that I would.
I mean, personally, my favorite meal of any ship that we've been on was on the Disney Fantasy. We went to Remy. And for those of you who know about Victoria and Albert's on land, this is kind of the equivalent to Victoria and Albert's, although I think it's actually a better dining experience on the Disney Fantasy. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, right? On our last cruise on Princess, we were on the Crown Princess, and we were club level, and that gave us access to a special area of the main dining room. And each night, the dining captain would be making a special entree or dessert right there. Right, like 2 tables away from us, he was actually cooking. Mm-hmm. And after the first night, I ordered whatever he was making the first night, and then every night I didn't even look at the menu. I'm like, whatever he's making, I'm gonna have that. And that was easily the best main dining room food that we've ever had.
That was amazing. Although Blue, on our last Celebrity, we had Aqua Class on Celebrity, and Blue was maybe not as consistent, but very good when it was good.
So Blue is for people who book special cabins on the Celebrity. So certain ships, you book, a spa class, you book a suite, even some of the like higher end balconies. You get access to different restaurants that you can go to every night. So you can go to the main dining room if you want, or you can go to these other restaurants that are no extra charge because they're part of the experience of booking the cabin. We'll get into that a lot more in another chapter. Now, from what we've seen of some of the bloggers and the reviews that have been on the Virgin ship so far, Scarlet Lady, their food game looks like it's living up to the hype. It looks like the food is going to be absolutely amazing on that. So if you're a foodie, you might want to consider the Scarlet Lady, and when it comes out, the Valiant Lady, because they are pushing no extra fees for any of the food on there. So if you're a foodie, definitely the 3 cruise lines we would recommend would be Celebrity, Disney, or Princess, and then keep an eye out on the Virgin Voyages ships as well. So the destination that you're going to go to kind of plays into what kind of vacationer are you. The 3 most popular are the Caribbean, Alaska, and Europe. Now the Caribbean is generally the cheapest way to go cruise, and it also has the most variety. You can just lay on a beach all day and do nothing but drink Mai Tais, or you can go zip lining, 4-wheeling, jeeps, you name it. There's so much variety of the types of things that you can do. Oh, I didn't mention snorkeling, which is one of Rebecca's favorites.
Love it.
She loves to snorkel. I just can't, my brain cannot just can't get it that I can actually breathe through that hose. So, but I do like to swim. And then we just did this thing recently that we'll talk about in another episode, which is the Boss Submarine, Boss Submersible, where you can actually go underwater in a diving bell and not even have to worry about the snorkel. And you sound like Darth Vader. You're like, it was actually kind of cool. So the Caribbean is a great, it's a great, when there's multiple people who like to do various things, that's a really good destination. Alaska tends to be a little bit more active. You know, you've got helicopters, you've got dog sleds, you've got lots and lots of hiking, but it can also just be, you know, just walk around town and not do much of anything. We went whale watching, we did hiking, we took a helicopter to a glacier. It was absolutely amazing.
Train ride.
Alaska will be among the more expensive because the season is short. It's only May to September, and there's only so many ships that can go up there. So that will cost more, certainly, than going to the Caribbean. And then in Europe, there's just so many places that you can go. I mean, Greece, Italy, Turkey, Spain, and everything in between, all over the Mediterranean, coming around to Great Britain, Ireland, Scotland, so many places that you can go over in Europe. Obviously, if you live in Europe, it's going to be a little cheaper to do those cruises. If you live in the US, a little more expensive to go over there. But the destinations will probably play a part in you know, what kind of vacationer are you? I mean, you really want that first cruise to be a good experience. So try to pick something, you know, a combination of a ship and a destination that really, really appeals to you. Another thing to consider, you know, how much time do you have? I would say to really get the cruise experience, try to do a 7-day cruise for your first one. If not, certainly you can take, if you've only got a weekend, you got a long weekend, you can take these 3-day cruises to the Caribbean all day long. 5 days is good. And to think about it, so in 3 days, you're really going to get a sense of the ship. You may not really get to experience everything that the ship has to offer in just 3 days. In 5 days, you should be able to experience most of the ship, maybe not all the food, but certainly most of the ship. 7 days gives you the best chance to explore all of the food that you want to explore, and to do as many excursions as you want to do at the various destinations, and then to see what it's really all about on a cruise. Now lastly, the time of year does affect like what may or may not be available, and certainly what ships might be available, because the cruise lines send the ships all over the globe. So for the winter season, you'll see there's a lot more ships going to the Caribbean. But then once it starts to warm up, a lot of those ships disperse and they'll go off to Alaska, they'll go to Europe. So there may be a particular ship that you want to go on and you want to go to the Caribbean on that ship, but it's not available at the time of year that you want to take your vacation. So that's also important too. Once you nail down the type of ship and where you'd like to go, you might have to alter the time that you go to get that itinerary and get that ship to leave from the port that you want it to leave from.
And obviously, if you have school-age children, you're definitely limited to their holidays.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's a good opportunity to have some things like Disney's much more affordable when the kids are in school.
Yes.
And affordable is kind of in quotes.
Yes, yes. Disney is without a doubt, well, not the most expensive, but for the mainstream cruise lines, you know, they are anywhere from double to triple what a similar cruise would be on another ship. So there you go. Step one in planning your first cruise, matching up the ship and the itinerary to the type of vacationer you are. I hope this was helpful. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the channel. I'm Walter.
I'm Rebecca.
We'll see you next time.